All right, welcome back in. This segment brought to you by Parkside Cabin Rentals. If you need a break from staring at your same four walls, take a trip to the Smokies. Rent your own mountain cabin. Hot tubs, pool tables, fireplaces, grills. They got the layout. They got all of the entertainment options you could want. Book your stay at parksidecabinrentals.com and save money on your next vacation or weekend getaway. Parkside Cabin Rentals. All right. Been seeing a lot of folks saying, well, there's no reason Tennessee can't win 8 games next year. Actually, there is. Actually, there is. That would be a hell of a job by Mr. Heupel if he wins 8 games next year.
Coach of the year.
Yeah, that would be, yes. Yeah. We don't know what the NCAA is going to do with you. If you're even going to know that by this fall, you probably won't. But in terms of roster issues, ESPN's Bill Barnwell just ranked Tennessee number 117 out of about 130 schools in the country in terms of returning production. Here's why. Let's take a look. Wow. This is the offense first. And what I did was I went and I just grabbed, because it's all I could fit on the graphic and you could still read it, I just grabbed the first top 15 guys in terms of most snaps played on offense last year. Anybody in blue, gone. You don't know they're coming. They're either already with another school, they're going pro, they graduated and they're not coming back, they're in the portal at the moment. 10 of your top 15. And I think number 16 was J.T. Shroud. So he's gone too. This is just the guys who got the most snaps. This doesn't count on down the roster, guys who would be called upon to replace these guys or who were valuable special teams aces or whatever. So on offense, 10 of your 15 or 9 of your 15 guys gone. Let's take a look at defense. Not quite as bad, but it's still not good. 5 of your top 15 snap getters. Now, Kevon Bennett, we know the situation there. Bryce Thompson's going NFL. To'o and Crouch. Okay, there's a possibility those guys decide to stay. Rumor has it Crouch is going to go through spring practice. To'o, everybody's wondering. He's back, what, David? He's in California?
Still in California taking classes virtually, yeah.
All right. You can't count on them as though they're back. And that doesn't look as bad on defense, but here's the thing. That doesn't count young guys, as I said, like Key Lawrence, who's gone to Oklahoma.
Right.
This doesn't count your special teams guy like Brent Samaglia, who's also transferring out. Now, you brought in a quarterback from Virginia Tech. You brought in a kicker from USC. That's great, but the exit door, it's coming off the hinges, whereas the entry door is still pretty stiff. It hasn't been used a lot. In terms of next year and what this fall, we should say, in terms of this fall, this roster, what he's inheriting is a real mess right now. I mean, in terms of returning, we could also do it with returning yards. Rushing yards, Gray and Chandler gone.
Right.
So your returning rushing yards is going to be next to nil. Receiving yards, passing yards, it's a mess.
Yeah, I think you have to look at, too, like what you have left over. Like, running back, I think they're probably still going to be fine there. But receiver, you still have some question marks. Bayless Jones, you're going to need him to have a huge year. You're going to need Jalen Hyatt to take that leap. Offensive line, the 4 5-stars and a 6-year senior has now been reduced to, I think, 2 5-stars and probably a sophomore.
Well, three starters off your offensive line.
Yeah, and so you just, this roster I don't think is as bad, pure roster, as what Jeremy Pruitt inherited after Butch Jones, but all of the other stuff, the NCAA issues, it's not
Dave,
great.
I will disagree with that from now. Me and you can
There are good players on this team. There's still 6 to 10 NFL guys.
Jeremy Pruitt's best players were almost all Butch Jones guys.
But when he inherited them, I'm not with you.
Well, Toa, name the ones that you go, wow, now that guy's a football player. If you look at this team for the past 3 years, it's mostly been Butch Jones's guys that were the standout.
It certainly was.
So
when
now,
they had their
when you only get 3 years, though, that's going to be natural.
You may be having a different we may be having a different conversation in 2 years, but so far, I don't see a whole bunch of talent hanging around there.
Yeah, I think
Nobody
it's pretty
gets to
equal.
watch practice, so we're not sitting there going.
I think when you look back, though, at that 2018 team, you had, not really a lot of players that were above average. You had pretty much, Trey Smith, maybe Ty Chandler, kind of Jennings.
Yeah,
but now you have guys that you still have some guys left over.
Would you
Kate
rather
Mays
have
is still a good player.
or Daniel Batuli playing middle linebacker?
Well, that depends on who's coaching him.
Well,
I think they have some major position
My
groups.
point is
Okay.
that I just think that there was a lot of talent with Butch's guys, there may be a lot of talent with Jeremy's guys. We just don't know yet. And so to sit there and to say that, I mean, we can disagree, but over the next 2 years we'll find out. I personally think a lot of that talent, like Key Lawrence was maybe your top signee last year. Okay? He didn't play. We're going to sit here and say at Oklahoma, was he really your top signee and things just didn't work out? Or was that another guy that came in slightly overrated? We don't know.
Well, whether
I
it
might
was
have got a
the
little loud.
problems with having
That went a
consistent
while.
practices, that was the one thing about Jeremy Pruitt, that you didn't really know how much talent you had because a lot of those guys couldn't get on the field.
Well, I think a lot of the Pruitt stuff was myth. We all know that it went belly up with Butch Jones. There's no question. There's no denying that. But once Jeremy Pruitt got here, because people hated Butch Jones so much, the response was, oh, Pruitt never misses on an evaluation. There's not a miss on that entire signing class. Bull, there are plenty of them. And now that they've transferred out, there are tons of holes. I just think that we built up the Pruitt always. How many people told me his recruiting was better than Butch Jones? And yet everybody goes by these recruiting rankings where he was never better than Butch Jones.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty similar to what the last guy inherited.
It's not remarkably different. I would
Yeah,
give
I
Pruitt
don't-
a minor edge.
Okay. Minor edge, you say, hell no. Chuck and I just watch.
Hey, I say program sales will be brisk.
All right. When we come back, we're going to look at the roster issues we just showed you. But there are a lot of other issues. Would Tennessee have been better off not going ahead and deciding to step on a landmine just for the sake of doing it? Would they have been better off keeping Pruitt for a year and not blowing up all this other stuff? There's an interesting topic. We'll see who gets heated over that. Come on back.